captain or like somebody who is on the hierarchy, if everyone's on the same page, it just doesn't matter. Like, and it explains why they're not making mistakes when their strategies are so like thoroughly thought out.
Yeah. Have you put much thought into that, Puppy? As in, like, I mean, you've always kind of played in teams with a clear leadership.
I think there's always dominance in a team, regardless.
Yeah.
If I would have to choose somebody from LGD and tell him like this guy's the main guy, it's maybe. And he just gives that power, in my opinion, from his plays, the way he goes, does things, and you know, he looks the dominant LGD player, and everybody else kind of starts, you know, coming in with their pitching ideas and stuff. There's still something that is hierarchy.
It's like a democracy almost. I think this has been a lot of fun. I've been told to go ahead and give it back to the main man on the panel. So thank you so much, gentlemen. Shiva as well.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you to everyone who joined us. It was great to listen to you guys on either side, kind of giving your opinions back and forth. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're getting ready for the grand final. But in the meantime, we had some people here on the panel, but Casey's out there with some fans to hear their reactions.
Yes. Yes! We've been practicing. What did you think of that last series?
That last game went by way too quickly. I'm here to see Dota, and I'm disappointed when I see 2-0 stomps.
You want all the games.
I want all the games. I want 7 games. More items, more time in this arena watching Dota.
We want more! All right, you guys, we were talking earlier. Who do you want to win the grand final?
I think I want OG win-win.
I'm disappointed that EG is out, but I'm rooting for LGD now.
Oh, LGD. What about you guys? What? Who are you rooting for? I think I know the answer. Go ahead.
LGD!
All right, let's just get a quick poll. How many people here in the bowl want LGD to take the whole thing? And how many people for OG? That's tough. Do you guys think it's going to go to 5 games?
I hope it does.
More Dota.
More Dota. Everyone here wants to see a 3-2 series. Yeah. Just like TI3.
Just
TI3. Yeah, 3-2. Nothing's more exciting than a 3-2 series.
Start a 3-2 chant with me.
3-2. 3-2. 3-2. 3-2. 3-2. 3-2. 3-2. 3-2.
I think he'll keep chanting that throughout the whole series if we let him.
My voice is going to die if I try that.
Back to you guys. Chobra, this is going to get nuts. We haven't even started the grand final yet. People are already hyped.
So excited. We hope to hear more of that 3-2 chant. I think that's one thing that fans on either side can get behind, just watching more great Dota. Let's talk about PSG LGD a bit, right? They just came off of that win, and I think it's interesting what Puppy mentioned is that as the players were reviewing it, PSG LGD, 1 mistake in 2 games, and that is scary.
Yeah, I don't remember the exact series, but it sounds like the LGD that I've watched in some of their games where, as they point out, and I think that's something that's important for fans to understand when it comes to this, is that the players make mistakes in every game. There's always mistakes. That's what makes the games. That's what makes it exciting. But the big mistakes that you want to avoid are the really big strategic moves where you walk up a bad high ground, you get team wiped, or you contest a Roshan that you can't do, or you go for big team fights when you have 2 ultimates on cooldown or something. You miss a spell here or there, it happens to everybody. But the big decisions, those are the ones that win games, and LGD are almost always on point. They had a mistake against OG yesterday, however, in Game 3, because that last 3rd game that they did end up losing, maybe a bit overzealous trying to go for the Ancient in that situation. So it can even get the better of LGD when the game is tough enough.
I mean, you can call that a mistake, but it's like ultra late game. You're trying to win the game, you know. You're trying to do something that changes the face of the game. So I kind of feel like it's not that fair to call it a mistake, I would say. They're just trying to win the game, and they didn't calculate something. In the end of the day, a buyback or anything, it's not everything is under your control.
It's not an easy decision to make.
Yeah.
But when you do see it, it's easy to be captain hindsight, right? There's a core in the enemy team without buyback. Maybe you can go for megas instead of trying to end the game. You know, you never know what could have happened, but.
All right, well, thank you for those. Something to look forward to, I think, for LGD. Do they continue on this clean streak? Well, let's take a look back at how they've actually gotten here as they await the grand finals.
PSG LGD arrived at the International on the strength of a top 3 finish in the Dota Pro circuit. They found little trouble in their group stage.
Could it be a triple rampage? Yes,
taking games off each team, except for a 0-2 set against Evil Geniuses to finish 11-5. Third in Group A and good for the upper bracket. On the main stage, their first opponent would be DPC standouts Virtus Pro, whose success in the world's biggest tournaments made them a team to be feared.
They want Ame here as well. There's no rotations coming.
Oh, good gust there, but might be in a little bit of trouble now as they chase him down further. The toss forward, they throw out the tree, every dang thing. But now there's another black hole. They're slowly going forward for more, and LGD are willingly walking into them.
But despite dropping into an early hole, Somnus and PSG LGD stood firm.
The only heroes alive are the Enigma and the Bane, and they're calling for the Tier 4 towers.
Stunning Virtus Pro in Game 1 and making a sudden push for the throne. In Game 2, they maintained the momentum.
The thunder, it's coming. They've got it. No one in trouble. It's dead yet again. LGD running over the corpses of Virtus Pro.
Building a massive lead to drop VP into the lower bracket.
And GG is called.
That was an emphatic victory. Look, it says it all in Solo's face. What just happened?
The next challenge would come against defending champions Team Liquid, but PSG LGD's FY and Somnus weren't about to bow to history, determined instead to create some epic moments of their own.
Challenge, no banner required. Victims went up, Colonel's up next. PSG LGD have effectively wiped Liquid in 2 parts of the match. It is absurd how well this team is playing right now. Fighting into a blade mill, he's going to try and finish off Somnus. Double kill for Somnus. He is not letting Liquid come back into this game too. That was an emphatic statement win, 2-0. They made it look easy every step of the way.
Just like that, PSG LGD overwhelmed another contender. Facing the only 2 teams to outperform them in the DPC season, they didn't drop a single game. But in the upper bracket final, PSG LGD ran headlong into upstarts OG.
Forward, chasing up to Anna, but with a call down and the flag cannon, Somnus cannot repel firepower of that magnitude.
Despite spectacular individual performances from Somnus, FY, and Ame, PSG LGD fell just short in a 3-game series, dropping the set 1-2 and falling from the upper bracket.
LGD has nothing left. OG have done it. It goes the distance. It goes to 3.
But that wouldn't be the end of their story. Facing a determined EG squad in the lower bracket finals, PSG LGD would not be denied.
This is looking like it's going to be it as Sumeo, last one alive for the team, dead again. And GG LGD are moving on to the grand finals.
PSG LGD making it back for the grand finals. A great run. And of course, I mean, both these teams, they've met each other a couple times in TI so far, once in the groups and then in that upper bracket as well. I mean, Winter, PSG LGD took down both VP and Team Liquid. I mean, that alone is a great feat for them in the upper bracket.
Yeah, definitely. That alone is something that most teams would have dreamed of, like playing the 2 strongest teams in the DPC season and beating them 2-0 straight. And yeah, they're gonna be in like really good form right now, and I just can't wait to see the game start.
Yeah, well, the players are getting ready, but what are they fighting for? In fact, it is the Aegis, and I believe Slacks is right by it right now.
Hello, Chobra. I'm over here by the Aegis with some fans of these different teams. Now this is what don't touch that! This is what everybody is looking for right here. The big glory, the most amazing thing in Dota, the symbol of the champions. And we got some fans here that are supporting these teams. So, OG fan, right?
Yes.
What's your name?
Mariana.
All right, Mariana, this is your chance. They're all back there right now watching this broadcast, about to play the grand finals. They want to hear something from their fans to hype them up. Do you have any words of encouragement for Team OG?
Yes. OG already defeated LGD once. You just got to do it twice. It's going to be easy breezy.
You already beat them once. You could do it twice. I like it. Very good. Sir, what's your name?
I'm Steven. I am the biggest OG fan. I put them in my compendium 3 months ago before TI started whatsoever. We have the best support players. We have the #1 mid player. Like, you cannot give this guy Invoker. He's amazing. And Seb in the off lane is fantastic. He's grown so much as a player. OG, you guys got this. Nobody can stop you. No tail, slay China, bro. You got it.
Oh, man. That's what I'm talking about. But as my good friend Nahaz would put it, there are two sides to every story. Sir, LGD fan, right?
Yeah, of course.
What's your name?
William.
All right, William, they need to hear it over here. They've come so far. They're the last Chinese team. The crowd loves them. Talk to them. Give them some motivation.
Come on, LGD fans. Shout out Invincible 不可战胜的 LGD!
Oh! Very good, sir. That worked really well. Sir, who's your favorite player on LGD?
Maybe.
Any words specifically for maybe?
Yeah, maybe. I've been following you for so many years. You are such an amazing player. You can do it this year. Go get it.
Go get it, maybe. Oh, so one more.
Yeah, and I want to take this opportunity to say thanks to all the players and teams who have been here, giving us fantastic fights and performance. You know, being a Dota fan, that means everything. I feel so happy and honored to be here. And shout out to all my homies watching back at home. Dota forever, boys!
Dota forever, that was beautiful. Well done. Okay, we are one last.
The one other guy I forgot to give credit to is their coach. Christian is fantastic, and I know that he's going to be bringing the strats to destroy LGD in the grand finals. Let's get it.
Oh! The crowd is still divided. The boys want the Aegis, but we're going to see who takes it very soon. How are you guys feeling over there, Chobra?
I'm more excited after hearing those fans. It's great to hear the fans so genuinely thrilled about just great Dota. You don't see fans often taking the mic to just thank all the teams and players, but definitely should take a moment before we go into the grand finals. Now, we've talked about the two teams, and I want to bring focus, March, to one thing that came up as we were talking to some of our guests, is that Earthshaker, right? Has been an integral part on both teams in their victories so far.
Yeah, Earthshaker definitely a game-changing hero, and especially I want to mention how the item builds changed. Before, a lot of people would go dagger into like 4-step or like Shadow Blade, some kind of different items, and being able to have this Agnes, like the new founded item, that makes the hero so much stronger. And then versatility in the laning phase, where you can help the mid or secure the off lane, it seems like really good value in that hero.
Yeah, Sin, do you agree that you think this is going to be either high contention or maybe even the decision maker in this match?
It's going to be a highly contended hero. It will be first phase picked in multiple games, and it might turn into a ban at some point. We'll see how it goes. Obviously, both teams have ridiculous records on it. I believe, I'm not 100% sure about OG's score on it, but I think LGD are 6-0 with FY playing that hero. Either it's at the main stage or across the whole tournament, so they're very comfortable. And yeah, it's going to be one of the many heroes that will be important.
I mean, do you think it's something to do with the pairing as well? They often pair it with Silencer, which seems like Silencer makes the Earthshaker look really, really good too.
I think LGD also like playing with Enchantress, but it's very good with the Silencer for sure. It just gives you that incredible team fight. You get the jump and you counter the counter-active moves that the enemy team can do, so you like Echo Slam and then Global. Definitely one of the pairings that both teams have played and had great success with, so absolutely.
Yeah, of course, we saw them picking up that Enchantress with their Shaker earlier as well. Well, we actually had a chance before we go into the Grand Finals to hear from players who have been in the Grand Finals before at TI to talk about the pressure and what's at stake.
Gentlemen, welcome.
各位好。
How exhausting is a TI? Is this truly a test of your spirit?
I felt like last year my body was like preparing for a war for 2 weeks or something. Yeah. Like all this adrenaline like constantly in my body. And when the finals were over, I realized when I took a shower, like every part of my body hurt actually.
去打决赛的话，就把这当做一个普通比赛，因为不管打什么比赛都想赢嘛，就是想赢下比赛。 就没有想太多其他的。
Go in the game and don't care. Like you just came here to play, so you play fearsomely.
You just play Dota. 就也没有想特别多，我就觉得我既然都想走到这了，我就想跟你好好的，跟你好好过两招。
I mean, I get the idea of like kind of letting your mind go and just, you know, oh, it's just another Dota game or it's just like our scrim, but like, I mean, it's not.
对，当时在 VS 打 T6嘛，然后打决赛，然后就是观众，几乎所有人都在喊 VS 嘛，就有一股能量，就感觉坐在这里打的就感觉那个，就感觉身体快要爆炸了，那种能量就要炸出来了一样，就是也是特别爽，然后。
I mean, that's the special thing about TI. It's like it's the last event, and everyone's gonna go 100%.
印象最深的就是我们迈入在 TS 我们迈入决赛的那一刻，当我们赢完，那个感觉可能是我这一辈子最棒的感觉吧，可能是这样吧。就感觉好像全中国的人都在支持你一样，就感觉感觉搞得跟我拿了冠军一样，真的那种感觉，真的很爽，你知道吗？就真的很爽，反正。
I can't help but feel when that trophy lift is going on, it's not a life goal completed. It's like relief half the time.
I mean, for me, it's more like a kind of a sad moment that the Dota just stops because you've been to this awesome event for 2 weeks straight and you get to play Dota with your friends and just really enjoyed your time and then you lift the trophy and it's all over. You're going home.
我的话，这么多总决赛下来，让我觉得应该就是每一个队伍的举盾的时候。觉得可能那是我自己内心最触动的时候，觉得那个时候就也为举盾的人开心，也感觉为自己觉得有点遗憾嘛，或者是之类的。
I've been to 3 TIs and I've gotten third twice, and I think like as painful as the losses were, it was more difficult to watch 2 other teams play in the finals instead of us.
应该 T2的时候吧，因为 T2的时候在老王爹，然后整个队伍。状态都非常好嘛，然后一直连胜到胜得主决赛，然后才开始，然后连着2个 BO3被锤没了，那种感觉就是，然后又看着 IG 夺冠了嘛，就感觉很不甘心嘛，就一直印象很深刻。
I would have loved to win all the TIs.
Of course.
Not for the money, just for like.
Yeah, me too, man. What about you?
No.
None of them?
He wants to lose 1 or 2.
Yeah.
我也想我自己会赢，但是。就不管什么东西还是看本事嘛。如果我有那个本事，我能赢的话，那也觉得挺正常的。那如果别人比我们厉害，别人自己有本事输了，也心服口服嘛。
Why has that never been a 2 times TI champion?
I think winning TI takes a certain amount of luck, and it's pretty unlikely that it's going to happen twice. I mean, it's more likely that the best teams are going to, finish towards the top, but the best team doesn't always win.
当时杀入决赛了，因为我们只有1个晚上的准备时间嘛。那没什么好说了，那想的肯定是把对面往死里怼啊，然后第2盘就上去了，然后第1把就赢了，被连扳3盘就GG了呀，就只能看着别人捧杯了。其实还是挺遗憾的嘛，那肯定。
Most of Dota players, were competing on something else, sports or like video games or whatever. Without this feeling, you wouldn't win anything. Because if you just don't care about the game, about your win, about you being the best, you wouldn't achieve anything.
TS 是一个质变。是就从 TS 这一届突然奖金一下飙升到这么高的。
当时牛比夺冠以后，我们都说这职业打不下去了。我们打了一辈子职业，还没人1/10奖金多。是的。
TI is like the end of the year, right? This is like the event that we all look forward to. All anybody really wants to do is qualify and compete in this tournament. And so when you get here, it's just, I mean, you're just excited to play.
There we have it. At the end of the day, you're just excited to play. But of course, as PPD mentioned earlier in that video as well, it is the grand finals, and you can't possibly say it's just the same as any other game that you've played before, March.
That's true, but I have never been in the grand finals.
Sure.
I don't know so much about it, but hearing from a lot of the people saying, like, take it as just a normal game, and like OG, they're playing over their expectations, and if there's any team that can take this as any normal game, maybe that's the OG here.
Yeah, I mean, Winter, let's talk about that part that you mentioned a little bit about there not having been 2-time champions yet, right? I mean, obviously right now we're looking at OG and PSG LGD continuing that trend. Do you agree that it's really, there is a certain amount of luck and timing involved in winning a TI?
Yeah, there's like some luck with the bracket and maybe like the meta as well. You guys are really good at this hero, and suddenly at the tournament, this hero becomes really popular. There's gonna be some form of luck, but still, the team has to be stable enough to utilize that bit of luck that's gonna be available in the game.
Yeah, and Sin, looking at the bracket, obviously this time, how do you think that played out? Obviously, a lot of strong teams coming in from Group A, actually dominating to the end of this tournament.
Yeah, it might have actually played a relatively big role in the outcome of this tournament that all of those teams got to play against each other in the group stage. Because if there's so many strong teams, it's very unusual. I believe the top 4 teams in this tournament were the top 4 of Group A in the beginning. So I don't think we've had that happen before. But you think about it, if all these teams are the really strong teams and they get extra practice against each other, playing official games is always better practice than scrims, because scrims you always try to emulate playing 100%, but you can't really do it when there's nothing on the line. But you get all of these extra games in, and you learn new things that the other group doesn't. They can watch your replays, but it's never the same as getting the feeling in the game.
What do you think about OG being able to play against the top 3 teams, EG, LGD, and Liquid, first 3 games in the match in the group stage?
I think that was hugely important for them. I think that's why they learned all the stuff that they needed to get through this entire bracket and, of course, get 4th in their group in the end. They got so much experience, so great replays to look at. So, absolutely.
Yeah, OG taking advantage of kind of that hyper training they were able to have as they entered the international. Well, PSG LGD versus OG. I mean, gentlemen, let's talk a little bit of our predictions. I'm not asking for like scores or whatnot, but how do you figure this is going to go, Winter? OG, the momentum and the hype has to be on their side.
I mean, as much as I want to be on X-Nova's side, he is like I think the second only Malaysian to ever reach the grand finals after Chuan. But I feel like because OG, they have been able to sit aside and watch the games, and they are able to get more information of compared to LGD. They did have some extra time, like maybe 1 hour from now, but I feel like preparation-wise, I would favor definitely OG.
How are you 3 also calm about this grand finals coming up? Is it like the players, it's just another Dota game for you guys? I mean, this is OG versus PSG LGD. March, do you see this going the full length, 3-2?
I want to see some crazy games where OG pulls out some crazy strategy, and want to see flashing moves from Thompson and go BO5 for sure, but like
there's a part of you that thinks it's not going to go that way.
I feel like LG didn't need to show much against EG. It was pretty, like there was nothing too surprising they brought out, and like for OG side they also had to prepare for both sides. They didn't know which team's gonna win, right?
True.
So going to the grand final and this being BO5, I don't think OG has like all 5 strategies prepared for it, and maybe BO3 it will favor OG more because usually the stronger teams wants to play more games, right? So.
That's an interesting point you bring up. I mean, this is all just speculation, but Sin, do you think that OG kind of predicted that PSG LGD would be their opponent in the grand final?
I think that was hard to predict. They might have considered them the favorites, but they obviously did need to prepare for both teams. They've had some time to do it. As far as this final outcome goes, I want to say that when you look across the winner bracket and when the games were won, I feel like LGD at their best were better. Their wins were more dominant. So OG did go through the upper bracket, but they had two 2-1 wins, and LGD's 2-0s were pretty clean. That the ones that they got against VP and Liquid, they just looked pretty dominant, honestly. Game 1 against VP perhaps could have gone the other way, but LGD just... I'm still favoring them just because I think their peak is higher. Right. And when it comes to OG, it's the element of surprise that they have to play on. So I'm expecting just a lot of creativity from them. But if LGD show up with their absolute best, I do feel like they have an edge.
Yeah, a lot of times it did feel like OG was kind of able to force mistakes out of their opponent by surprise and then take advantage of that momentum, whereas LGD, we discussed earlier, just plays a clean game and they're able to play on their own terms. We'll start talking about some of these players as individuals as they're about to stand on that stage for the grand finals of TI8. Let's start with Thompson, right? The easiest one of all. It's just a very apparent story. This guy did not imagine being on the stage, and now he's playing for the very last match of TI8. I mean, to a certain extent, I think it works to his advantage, Winter, because to him, probably the one who's closest to just playing another Dota game.
Yeah, like he is the guy that doesn't really give a shit about what happens in a game. He just does whatever he feels is good. That could be a thing, you know. Sometimes in this like really, really clutch games, you need someone that makes a move that no one else wants to make that move. Because like if you talk about the veteran players or maybe the more experienced players, they've been through the phase where they lost because they did something bad in the game, so they are a bit worried. Maybe sometimes they don't want to make that risk. But if you look at a newer player, he's the one that, whoa, I'm just gonna do it. I don't care. If we win, we win.
I think N0tail is a really good enabling leader for that kind of style, because N0tail has always been a bit like crazy, and he just wants to, you know, he's like screaming in the booth. He's going crazy. He loves trying new creative stuff, just playing. It's been an Achilles heel for him sometimes too, that he just goes a bit maybe too crazy. But when you have a player like Topson who you can empower, and N0tail from that support position can try to, both through the draft and just in-game leadership, enable him, he's kind of setting him free, basically.
I mean, adding on to that though, like if you're going crazy as a carry, sometimes it's worse for your team because you are holding a lot of weight on your shoulders. You have a lot of net worth. But when you're doing that as a support and when you die, it's fine, you know, there's a balance there for N0tail.
All right, well, a fantastic combo to have watched so far for sure. Definitely want to take some time to talk about the PSG LGD players in a little bit. But right now, I mean, this arena, the Rogers Arena, is filled with fans. And Slacks, where are you? You're talking to a couple more, it sounds like.
What's up, dog? I'm still here down on the stage, and I have heard a beautiful story. What's your name?
Jacob.
Emerald.
And who do you guys hope wins, TI?
OG.
OG.
Okay, now that that's over, what's your story, sir? What happened this week?
So I proposed, and she said yes.
Now, you guys came to TI to watch TI, and then you popped the question on...
It didn't happen in the stadium, though, so thank God.
Well, it could have. In fact... All right, hold on. Before we get started, let's get a zoom in on this rock. People, come on! We hear it for this rock! What a man! Could have happened in the stadium. What do you guys think about recreating it? Huh?
Sure, why not?
Embarrassing, Jacob.
Very embarrassing. Let's do it. Go up on that stage. All right, give them the ring. Come on, we're going to redo this. We're redoing it. Now, if you guys are watching this at home, just pretend like they emailed me and I did a really big favor. Okay, I want to look like a nice guy. All right, here we go. I'll just be walking with you so casually. You're just on the main stage at TI, just doing nothing. Bro, that was such a big hot dog. Oh, look at this hot chick over here. Do you know this person?
A little bit.
Whoa, boy, it looks like you want to propose to her. What are you gonna do?
I hope yours went better than this. This is not.
Go ahead, sir.
Emerald Litke, will you please marry me?
Yes.
Whoa. No, not yet. She says yes only if OG wins. They have to win. You're OG fans. You can only get married if OG wins, okay?
N0tail, please, for the love of God.
I'm going to be real with you. She's a catch, and I don't know how this is happening already, N0tail. You've got to win, dude. This is his only chance.
Do it for love.
All right, here we go. Whoa! Hey, give it up! Oh, that was not asked for. Keep that at home, you animals. All right, well, back to you. Love is in the air, and so is death. We want to see some games, boy. Chopper, take it home.
My goodness, if I had any doubt before, that is clear to me that I am not inviting Slacks to my wedding, because that is just chaos waiting to happen. But congratulations to you two. Definitely awesome to see love in the air. But we are, as Slacks said, we're getting ready for the grand final. So now that we've been able to celebrate the love part, we're getting ready for perhaps a bloodbath between these two teams. Let's talk about PSG LGD a little bit. We talked about Topson, obviously tons of more players to talk about. But on the side of PSG LGD, let's talk about Maybe, right? I mean, Puppy's pick for a player that he wants to look for perhaps as a top player in this matchup was Maybe. March, what are your thoughts on Maybe as a player?
Maybe most stable player in China, one of the best mid laner, obviously, and then he makes team play around him, and then he's the aggressive one and taking the roles into the team fight. And then, yeah, it's great to have a player like that, like moving the team forward.
I mean, if you've been following him a lot, in the past, he's more like a very, very flashy mid player. He likes to play the Tinkers, the Shadow Fiends, but you know, this past 2 years he's been like moving. He's playing Dragon Knight, he played Viper, he plays Razor, he's playing the team heroes. So he's showing everybody that he's a player that not just can only carry the game and be flashy, but he's also be there to be the team player when they need him to be.
Yeah, adapting a little bit and being able to carry that weight.
Yeah, I still think he is at his best when he plays the more aggressive mids. I think some of his weaker performances were on Huskar and Alchemist, and I just want to see him on those more spellcaster-heavy Storm and Linas. I think those are his absolute best.
Well, I mean, again, it's a best of 5, so anything can happen, right? We're going to see that adaptation as the match goes on. Right now, Casey, you're out there somewhere as well with some more fans, it sounds like.
Yes, we are. We are with some very excited fans.
Hello.
That's all you got? You were like, put me on camera. Hello.
EG lost. I'm very sad.
Are you?
Yeah.
Did you cry?
No tears. No tears. Yeah.
It's okay if you do. It's very emotional. Who are you rooting for now?
LGD. I love the Chinese fans. They're so hype. Yeah.
Hey, that's great. What about you?
China!
How many people think this is going to go to 5? I asked that a few games ago. Now how are we feeling? You think it's going to be 3-2?
Yeah, OG 3-2.
OG 3-2. How many people think it's going to be OG 3-2? Okay, now LGD 3-2. Remember, we are all friends after this ends, no matter what, okay? We all love Dota. Let's give a big round of applause. Come on, for both teams. Come on, it's going to be some good Dota. Back to you, Chobra.
Thank you, Casey. Indeed, I mean, we're all just waiting to watch perhaps what's going to be the best match of the year between these two teams, PSG, LGD, and OG. March, are there any other players you want to kind of pinpoint before we move on here? We talked about Thompson and maybe as a spotlight, but obviously all 10 players spectacular.
Being on the offlaner myself, I want to take a look at Chalice and Seb, especially Chalice, where like I have seen him give in a hard lane, but he just plays that lane. I have seen him play Tiny against Necrophos or some hard lanes, and then the item builds he chooses, especially the series against the LGD, the upgraded earn first item on Race King and stuff like that. Those are the smart item choices. Yeah, that's what I want to look at.
I mean, he even did that on the Enchantress game.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to point out as well.
Yeah, so a little bit of favor for what obviously you're looking for, but I mean, Chalice, of course, has had some great games. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're getting ready for the grand finals here at TI8, but it's a time to take a look back at how we get to the TI finals.
I think for any team that is in the finals, that's just 100% focus. You know that you're the 2 best teams in the world. Either of you could win. It's a very weird feeling. It feels like you need to win this with all your soul and body and mind. You know, like everything that you've achieved in Dota and that you've done in Dota has built up until this moment.
Some people maybe feel pressured. Crowd was always very friendly to us. The crowd would help us a lot. Big scene is good for us, but for someone else, I don't know, it's different.
50,000, 500,000, 2 million people are watching, like, okay, that's great. It's a lot of pressure. Playing with thousands of spectators watching you, you're more prone to make mistakes because you're thinking about it more. Just keep your cool and not let any distractions such as the crowd or, you know, the pressure get to you. Guarantee you someone else on the other team will let it get to them, so if you're able to keep your cool, you're probably going to win.
Dota is a sick mental game. It brings out the best and worst in you. Who ended up winning the mental warfare always won the series. That's how you're going to win tournaments. That's how you win the tournament. And, if you break the other mind, it gets really easy. Some minds are really hard to beat, though.
Well, at TI5, I had no anxiety. Like, I was totally comfortable in my own skin, and I think that I played really well, and everything was great. But then I go to the Summit 4, you know, it's $100,000 tournament versus this $18 million tournament. I'm sitting there in the finals, down 0-2 against VP, and I'm just like having trouble breathing. It's weird like that, and you don't know when anxiety is going to hit you. If you're freaking out, you know, somebody else is probably freaking out too.
Just a screw up in the game, you made a mistake in the game and that's why you lost. Those things can happen, but those things should not eat you. Sadly, a lot of people end up thinking about their loss a lot because they could have done better.
To lose in finals, just one step before winning, it's hit you much harder.
输了以后，第一个感觉就是我很对不起所有的粉丝，因为他们一直以来都很支持我，尤其是在场所有的观众也是在呼喊着我的名字，所以我觉得很对不起他们。然后过后我很伤心，然后我就出去躲在厕所啊，出去啊，一直流眼泪，就很久才能平复下我的心情。
It doesn't matter if we lose or not. Just those words reminds us of what we've done and that we don't need to be afraid of losing. It sounds like maybe not a winning mentality, but I think it's opposite. You remove the fear of losing, so you would not be afraid to do risks, which can be very necessary in these games.
I hadn't won a lot in my career up until, you know, pre-TI4, but then after we started winning, it was a different kind of scene for me. You got more fans, you got more prestige. Everything changes when you start winning.
Things just worked out for us, and TI5 was our tournament to win. That was one of 2 tournaments we won throughout that entire year, and it was the big one.
觉得自己这是真的吗？就是我当时拿完冠军第一时间就问自己这是真的吗？也没有一些很高兴的一些反应，然后觉得后面确定自己不是在做梦，然后就非常的兴奋吧。
就是如果我会给一个没有打过 TI 决赛的人的意见的话，就是当你打 TI 决赛的时候，就那几个小时，希望可以好好的珍惜，因为时间过得很快，一下子就会过去，然后你会很后悔当时没有好好的享受。
The strongest players doesn't win, it's the strongest team that wins. And it's almost always like that. If you don't perform every second of your games, you might lose to a team that's actually not better than you, but they're just hungrier.
I don't think any Dota player will go into these games and crumble under pressure. This is when you get your strongest. This is when it's going to be the hardest to break you. I strongly believe that if I woke up a morning and I had to play the TI final, I would play the best Dota of my life. And that's all that would matter to me. If I played my very best, nothing else would matter.
The International Grand Finals. Perhaps it's the stage that makes the best players that we're about to see. PSG LGD versus OG. No Tail talking about how if he had to play a TI Finals, probably would play his best, and that's all that would matter. Well, it's now come true, Sin, and it's time to test that. What do you expect to see from No Tail and OG?
I think they're just going to be fearless. That's what I was saying before. I think they are already super happy to be here. They were not expecting it. I believe this clip of No Tail is, I'm not sure when this was from. It's a couple of years old, I believe. So finally, this is obviously something he has dreamed of. I don't think this was the team that he was expecting it to happen with on so short notice. So it's like kind of a dream come true. And in those moments, he's going to play his heart out. And we've seen some of No Tail's best performances. It's amazing to see this transformation he's gone through so quickly on his support role. He's just... I'm sure he's going to deliver today.
Yeah, I mean, No Tail definitely has had several instances where he's talked about a TI Finals, right? My only goal is to get to a TI Finals. If I had a chance to play in a TI Finals, I would play my best. And here he is as a leader of a team, and as you mentioned, Sin, a relatively new team. Winter, he has to be so proud and also just so excited for himself as well.
Yeah, he's like, I think, in his team, the hungriest one to win. Every time I see him walk out of the booth and the way he hugs and the way he yells, I think he wants to win so much more than the rest of his team. I mean, not to say that they don't really want to win, but he's the driving force of the team, he's the leader, and he leads by a really, really good example.
Yeah, March, No Tail as a leader, I mean, do you think that he's one of the core reasons why this team is able to work?
I've been talking to him before. He's been always the smartest guy, one of the smartest guys. Even when he was playing core with new item builds, new heroes he comes out with, and then sometimes he lacked in like the performance when he was playing the carry, but when he can just be in the back seat where he can just tell people, give him always good ideas and let everyone play at their best, he's one of the greatest leaders.
I mean, this is why we always mention players with ideas. The captains should always be the support players, because in the core role, you have to focus on the game a lot. You have to look at the map, you have to farm. There's a lot of things going through your mind, and you want someone else to bear that burden.
I think this was this point from March is really good about his item builds as a carry, because I think that goes to show that regardless of which role N0tail plays in, he's not afraid of doing something that others don't. Sometimes his item builds in the past have worked out great. Sometimes he's looked really silly doing something that just completely backfires. But he's confident and convinced that what he's doing is the right thing. And win or lose, he just follows through with it, and then he learns from his experiences. That kind of fearlessness is the kind of thing that can take you the whole way. And they're here.
Yeah, there you go. Well, on the other side, let's talk about leadership then. Obviously, with PSG LGD, FY coming in, how do you compare these two? What advantage does FY bring as a leader of a team?
The leader.
Yeah, something tells me that QQQ, he does a lot behind. But I don't want to take anything away from FY, because I know FY, he is also like maybe he's not a strong leader, but he definitely does set a good direction for his team in the first maybe 10, 15 minutes. He's a very like influential support. He moves around, his team follows him. And maybe he might not be as vocal as like someone like PPD, but I still think that he leads the game in fairly well for his team, especially in the early game.
So a little bit of a different dynamic then between these two teams. March, when you look at PSG LGD, what do you see that in game, who's really taking command?
Xnova in the earlier phase of the game, like Trent mentioned it to me, and then I took a lot of into where he was. It seems like he knows where the fight's gonna happen next, and his wardings are the key success, one of the biggest key success on the LGD's performance.
All right, well, now we have both teams laid out, of course, 10 excellent players. Rogers Arena, are you ready? Ladies and gentlemen, this is the grand final of the International.
The final two teams vying for the Aegis of Champions. PSG LGD. Versus OG.
Versus PSG LGD, the grand finals of TI8. We've been waiting for this moment all day. We saw PSG LGD play their match earlier this morning, 2-0 against Evil Geniuses, and now a best-of-5 series between these two teams to determine who is the best at Dota 2 this year. We've talked a lot about the rosters, we've talked about the drafts, but let's talk overall. Winter, going into this grand final, how excited are you about these two matchups?
I'm really, really excited to see like good Dota. Generally, that's what I feel. But this year, LGD has came in as like a huge favorite to win the event, and I just want to see the prophecy come true here.
The prophecy coming true. We'll find out. March, I mean, are you excited enough to let out a battle roar about this grand final coming up? You have to be. This is so exciting.
This is so exciting.
Do it. Do it. Don't give me the scripted. This is so exciting. It's going to be a great match. Just let out your emotions. How excited are you about this?
You really want me to do this?
Yeah.
Is this mic able to like take my battle?
Well, maybe you should hold it off, but whatever you got. Well, you know what? The audio people will hate me, but whatever you got, the fans will love it. That's what we're all here for in the stadium. Sin, how excited are you for this?
I'm excited too.
No, don't give me that. We all know what's burning inside, Sin. All right, well, there we have it. PSG LGD versus OG. You can take a drink of your water. We put you through a lot for that one. But we've got a grand final coming up. Best of 5. We talked a little bit about the draft. Obviously, game 1, probably not going to see anything too crazy, I would think.
No, I think the first game is going to be the crazy game.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
On both sides.
When you go into these best of 5 grand finals, you know there's you have multiple attempts at trying something. So if you have this crazy strategy or this really strange idea that you feel like you've just theory crafted something, you might not even have scrimmed it. Maybe you've done it one time. You're like, you know what? We just saw what LGD played. For example, if you're OG, we have this great idea that we could try to run. You try it in game 1. Throw out a curveball. See how it goes.
All right, test the waters a little bit. March, your thoughts? Do you also expect to see some craziness come out game 1 and then adjust afterwards?
A lot of times, I guess, the first game in the BO5 is very important, and then you want, yeah, I think OG has something prepared, and then, yeah, Winter, you can talk for me.
We'll pass it over. Listen, the excitement for the grand finals.
Yeah, like the first game, because like he said, it's very, very important to to get an advantage in the draft, because if you can bust up something and the enemy has never seen it before, they don't really understand the full length of how good the strategy is, and they are forced to ban it in the next couple of games.
Well, on screen we see OG definitely getting ready, looking relaxed, making sure all the players are relaxed.
Any help you can get as a player.
Yeah, I mean, we just talked about that, right? Any help you can get, all the staff, all the resources they have. Well, okay, you guys are telling me about craziness, surprising picks. Sin, what's the craziest thing within the realm of reality that you expect to happen?
Oh, that was a good, important little preface there, within the realm of reality. Because the craziest thing that could happen would be techies. But that has not happened. Actually, Jerax does play that hero. But I don't think
you're leaving that 0.1% hope out there.
I think Xnova plays it too, actually, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
There are techies players on both teams. We haven't seen it the whole tournament. I don't think we're going to see it.
All right.
I know the fans would love to see it, or half the fans. Techies is like the most
split.
polarizing hero. Either you love it or you hate it.
I mean, you think about how the meta is being played. He's a support, you can secure the lane, and you have a strong presence in the team, but he actually fits the bill of how the supports play right now.
You're both gathering so much love and hate at once, Winter, by just trying to justify the techies pick. But okay, without techies now in that bubble, what's the craziest thing you expect to happen?
I don't know. That's the beauty of it, right? Is that we have no idea. I think there's so many untapped heroes that both teams could pull through with here. There's obviously on both sides very experienced players that have hero pools that they've barely shown. Maybe they think the heroes haven't been that good in the meta, but then the further on you get into the tournament, you start seeing developments, and all of a sudden you're like, oh yeah, this old hero that I haven't played for a couple of months is actually really, really good against what this specific team plays. And I just hope we get to see at least a couple of those picks across the series.
I mean, it may not just be like one new pick or one different pick. It might be combinations. Like combinations we never expect. Heroes, this hero doesn't really work well with this hero. Yeah, traditionally. and they just like pick them together and it worked and they win the game. Something like this.
Okay, well, March, any heroes in particular that you want to see in this matchup as we expect something new?
I particularly don't like
Pugna. You want to see Pugna? But you want to see Pugna every game.
Some of the heroes that I want to see is Ember Spirit from Ana and Monkey King from the tops, and they're one of the best at it. Those heroes might not be the best heroes in this meta, but they're really good at it, and I just want to see them.
I could see Ember. Somnus plays it as well for LGD's side, so both teams will definitely be able to grab that. I think Somnus and Ana are probably very clearly 2 of the top 5 in the world on that specific hero. So it would be cool to see at least one of them showcase what it can do.
Well, and then, March just mentioned the Monkey King as well. A little bit polarizing, I feel, on different panels about that hero, right? Meanwhile, we have some players like Thompson who are very good at the hero, but just the hero by nature maybe not standing up to a stage like this.
I mean, I don't mind seeing more meme hammer invokers. I enjoy the game.
Yeah, I mean, I think Thompson's given a treat to the viewers at the very least in just being himself. Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've talked so much about the game, but it's time to find out what's really going to happen in this grand final.
PSG LGD versus OG. Grand Finals, Game 1.
Best of 5. We kick it off with Game 1. OG battling all the way through the upper bracket, defying all odds and all predictions as they awaited their opponent, and it's none other than a rematch against PSG LGD. The draft for the first game going underway, and we'll find out what have these two teams prepared both against each other and for all of us to see. Game number 1, OG, as we've been taking a look at their booth, they've just seemed like themselves as they have every other game. Perhaps a little bit more nerves, but keeping each other company. PSG LGD also seems pretty eager after their victory against Evil Geniuses, obviously running with that momentum within the same day.
The guy we see in the shot, QQQ, playing an instrumental role in LGD's path to this grand finals. I believe this is the only coach that truly just does the draft for his team, at least in this matchup. I'm not sure across the tournament. There might have been
other Chinese teams do that. Like Mikasa does it for VG. But yeah, there are not many coaches that like control full control of the draft.
They generally are on the sidelines giving input, and of course when it comes to preparation for the matches, go over replays, go over drafting patterns of opponents. But QQQ definitely, when we talk about LGD and we talk about all their players, he's truly the 6th man for this team.
I think this should be like the future though. I think for a team to fully utilize the 6th man and to take the pressure off the other 5 players, I think this is going to be a way a lot of teams might be following, in the future.
I agree with it because the coaches are not much biased about the drafting compared to players. So.
Yeah, because sometimes when the captain is drafting and the player tells him, I want to play this game, there might be some bias of like comfort, but the coach is like, no, this hero is not good here. I want to pick this hero. So it's probably easier in that sense for the coach to decide that hero.
I think it's very team specific though, if that kind of just structure works, because you need to have a lot of faith in your coach. In order to just full-on give them complete power over the draft, you need to feel like, okay, even if your coach isn't playing at the same level you are, or isn't playing as much every day, that they understand the game as well as you do. And I think that's something pretty unique right now to the Chinese scene, where they give more credit to the coaches in that drafting position. Or maybe that's saying it the wrong way. Maybe both scenes give even credit to their coaches, but they just utilize them in a different way.
So at least for the first game, I feel like they're still sticking to the ideas they had in the upper bracket final, where they're focusing a lot of the bans against No Tail, and then on the OG side, they're not really afraid against playing Enchantress. But one of the heroes they liked playing against Enchantress was the Silencer, and it's been banned out.
Yeah, I think these are the 3 best bans against No Tail you can have in this finals. So full on just targeting him.
Yeah.
When I was saying I was expecting or this would be a good time to pull out some surprise picks, this is a very standard opening for both teams. But I think when you choose to do your adjustments generally to surprise your opponents is you throw that curveball on the 18 or on the 22 picks, so the last picks of 2nd and 3rd phase respectively. I'm curious to see. Obviously LGD today showed that they're not scared of pulling out something new. But for now, it is very stable and staying true to what have got them this far. The Shaker is in the game, so Yapsor thinks OG will win this game.
Yeah, there's that prediction.
Regardless of what happens. One thing LGD did against the Shaker when they played OG the last time was that they picked the FY Clockwork, who played an outstanding game.
Yes.
He was playing against both of these heroes, as a matter of fact, and we'll see if they do grab it again. They did end up losing that game, but FY was exceptionally good in that.
I mean, that was like a perfect Clockwork game. They had Pugner, they have Shaker, they have like Bane, they have all these like weak heroes that Clockwork could easily kill. And it speaks a lot about the Storm Spirit.
Yeah, Storm Spirit, 2nd pick.
Very early in the phase.
Well, else, if you're Somnus and you want to play this hero, I think in the series, this is when you got to grab it. The teams are banning it second phase against him.
Yeah, and this hero has some similarities with the Clawlet, with how you deal with the Shaker, because when you're playing against a Shaker, you always want to be able to get to him. You kill him, you need to take him out first, or you risk the fact that in the fights, anytime a big Echo could actually just wipe your entire team off, and Storm is one of the best heroes at doing that.
There are a lot of heroes that Thompson is good against with Storm Spirit. Thompson's those heroes that I see from Thompson already is Invoker, which is banned out, and there's Monkey King, and also don't forget about it, Skyrus Mage. Thompson seems the craziest hero. I haven't seen that hero in this tournament from him yet, but when you see that hero,
that's the kind of pick that is the kind of pick that OG could go for in this.
And we did see that being banned against OG the last time they met when Storm Spirit was picked. So obviously PSG LGD well aware of that. We'll see if they use one of their bans for it.
There's another reason that Storm is really good against Spectre, in my opinion, is the nature of how teams end up using the map when they have Spectre. It's a lot of this, you go together as 4 and Spectre plays on the opposite side of the map, joins the fights with Haunt. But when you have Storm, you have this hero that when it's missing, feels like it can solo kill the Spectre in any lane. So it kind of passively just limits Spectre's ability to find farm, and she has to play very carefully, maybe only farming with Spectral Dagger instead of committing to creep waves. And just delaying that timing of Ana could prove to be really important for LGD in this game number 1.
I mean, adding to that, I think when Spectre is faced in that situation, you kind of can't be too greedy with rushing the Radiance. You have to build like maybe a defensive item that allows you to sort of like semi-survive the ganks and maybe farm a lot more. So I think that would be the adjustment that the Spectre can make this game.
Skywrath Mage ban.
Yep, there we go. Comes out once again. PSG LGD very aware of what Thompson is capable of. The last time they also ended up banning out the Monkey King in the last phase as well.
So I guess a safe pick for the OG side is maybe the Lina. Lina is pretty good against Enchantress and Storm overall. And because they also have the last pick, right? So it can also be swapped out with Jerax. But actually, Jerax is playing most likely the Earthshaker, right?
Yes, I think Jerax will be put on this Earthshaker, and I think what OG will do is they will pick No-Tail, his hero now, looking for something like perhaps the Bane to come out from him in this situation. A lot of his heroes have been banned. And the reason is, even if Lina is good, I think you want to conceal the mid pick. You already know the mid matchup. This Storm will be going mid for Somnus like 99%, unless he's absolutely forced away from the lane. So if you can get a little better read on seeing perhaps one extra core or one key support, it's unless No-Tail sees a fantastic option for him to save his support for later, I do think we will see him grab it now. He doesn't look too confident right now, though.
Don't think he expected the Storm.
No, I think that caught them off guard. You saw Jerax chuckle a little bit when it happened, though. So.
I mean, they do have like a lot of lockdown for him, so it's not like, oh, Storm is picked and we don't have really enough stuns to deal with him. And we see in the second phase ban, OG decides to take out the Terrorblade and the Undying. Those are the two heroes that are much, much better against the Spectre. So to create a situation where Spectre is the strongest hero in the game.
But I also want to, like, there's Storm Spirit is a problem as well, but I think it's very important to make Enchantress useless somewhat. Winter Wyvern is, okay.
I personally love playing this matchup as Enchantress in lane. I feel like Wyvern doesn't do very much to you. You have the Arctic Burn or the Splinter Blast, but Enchantress's biggest strength as a hero is just sustaining harass.
Could it be like a misleading hero? Like it might be the off lane. Yeah, it could be an off laner. And we've seen OG done this in the third pick multiple times. They pick a hero. Wait, you look at the hero. This hero is going mid. Why are they picking this hero so early? And then at the end of the draft, okay, it's not actually a mid hero. And you pick a counter towards the lane, and you end up in a bad matchup.
It's one of OG's special flex picks, I would say. It's only OG and I believe Serenity that ran this in a position 3. I think Serenity played on Jin Q earlier in the tournament, but yeah, it gives OG more team fight for sure. I personally hate playing Wyvern against Storm.
Yes, me
too. It's a really terrible matchup, but perhaps if they do put it in the core role and get some items, it could be able to survive with something like a Glimmer Cape 4-staff build, but as a position 5 and how No-Tail plays for this team, if he does end up playing this Wyvern, I feel like he's going to have a really hard time having a good performance in this game.
I have a feeling it's not his hero because so far...
I do as well.
Yeah, because so far the way I observe they run the system, No-Tail has been taking the hero that takes very little amount of farm. So I don't think he will be on the Wyvern, but obviously it's still quite open for that in the draft.
For me, at the same time, I kind of like the Winter Wyvern against the Storm because it is a lockdown. And then you have a follow-up stun with the Earthshaker where you can lock down the Storm Spirit in that sense, and then of course, Winter Wyvern is very bad against Enchantress because the pure damage goes through him. But if
there we go.
Oh, wow. Okay, so not leaving it to be banned in the last phase, securing that.
And Winter Wyvern, and then Monkey King being a good combo together, where Winter Wyvern just uses Curse, and then Monkey King can just kind of go up there and use his ulti, right?
Look at their team fights, insane. They have the Wyvern ult, the Wukong's command, Earthshaker ultimate, and the Spectre ultimate.
This game for LGD already, I think when you game plan for this, you identify, okay, we're not going to win 5-on-5 fights unless we get the jump. Ideally, we want to dominate the lanes and split up the map, and when OG try to find farm, that's when our Storm Spirit can shine, because it is very difficult to team fight into this, but looking at how Maybe has been, or Somnus has been playing the Storm Spirit in general, I think this is the kind of game that you don't go Bloodstone in. I think you want a fast Orchid here so you can single out that key target in the Wyvern or the Shaker for now, that you just jump, control, and get the first kill on. Because if you go for the greedier Storm Spirit build with the Kaya into Bloodstone, do you actually have the control and the damage to not just get counterplayed way too hard by OG's supports?
Yeah, I agree. I think they have to kind of like play more conservative. They have to try to, you know, buy items that will allow them to create space to drag the game. That's what they want as a Storm. So this